Now then, people, welcome back to the Just Joe football show. I know you were only expecting me and Savva, but George was 3, so you get 2 for the price of 1. Always sorting you out. We're here to talk Leeds United versus Spurs. It probably will be a lot more relaxed to what we normally see on a Thursday, because I genuinely want to find out what the lads' opinions are on Spurs, their season, and what they're thinking ahead of this game. But before we do, let's just jump in and find out how they're doing first and foremost. Savva, we'll start with you. How's tricks, mate?
All is good my end, and this of course will be calmer because you've not got Wolfie over here stirring the pot every 30 seconds, have you? So it's going to be I'm good. Thanks for having me. First, I think it's the first time on your channel. I always thought you were a Man United fan, but apparently you're a Leeds fan. So exciting.
Listen, I used to go on Potsy's channel way before, but I've worked with Savva before. First time this time around for George. It was heated last week, but he's a top guy. George, talk to me. How are you?
Yeah, man, I'm well. I know a lot of people saw the heated conversation, but it's all just a bit of fun and games. That's what their Thursday show's supposed to be. If somebody doesn't argue, it doesn't feel right. So
exactly, man.
Well, we had a bit of fire, but no, I'm good outside of that, and a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, good, man. It's great to have you both as well. Listen, I'm going to dive straight in first and foremost because I think you differ slightly on this opinion because I have to talk about him because he's my boy. It's Archie Gray. Absolutely gutted. We're going to start there, folks. Absolutely gutted that he left. I was actually raging with the football club at the time. I felt like they sold him from right under us. I wanted him to play for Leeds in the Premier League, go on. His brother, he's still at the football club, young Harry. Their family have a big dynasty with Leeds United. I think there's like 5 generations now. I wanted to find out how he's getting on. What's the future look like? Because for me, I'm talking about him going to the very top. Now, I know Savva might not align with my thought process. So I'm going to find out from Savva first of all. And remember, you're on a Leeds channel and we still love him dearly. So be as kind as you can be.
No, look, it's not that I don't think he'll go to the top. I think it's a difficult one, right? He came in last year for a big price tag for a kid with no real experience. And he played, he was chucked at right back, left back, centre back. He literally played, I can remember, I don't know, maybe 2 occasions where he might have seen him in central midfield. Hardly ever at all. He looked like, for me, quite a scared, timid young man, which is to be expected. It's a big step up. But this year, you've got a manager that's got him that wanted to buy him before he was meant to be moving to Tottenham, right? So we know that Thomas Frank did like him and wanted to take him to Brentford. We don't know what his plan was for him. And what we're seeing at the moment is when he is bringing him on, he's only started 1 game, I believe, 2 games. I think he started against Burnley in the first game and then he started against Doncaster in the Cup. What we are seeing is we were told, I don't know if George goes through, we were told that he's the number 6. He's the number 6. He needs to be integrated into that position and he's going to learn from Paulinho. When he's been playing, we've seen him more further forward, is it in like an 8 that kind of presses and an 8 that wants to get on the ball. So at the moment, I'm not really sure what he is. I think it's going to take a lot of time. And the question is he going to get enough? Is he going to get enough starts for me to really prove himself? That's the problem he's going to have.
You think Savva, his problem is that he can play too many positions. So at Leeds United, we all thought he's coming to play midfield. Then he ended up at right back. He played at England at right back. Then he comes to Spurs. He plays right back, left back, sometimes in midfield. Do you think because he's got loads of different positions he can play, it's a case of, we'll just stick Archie there, and then therefore he's not going to grow in his natural position?
Yeah, I mean, there's 2 schools of thought, right? It's great that you've got a player that's adaptable and versatile, but also, do you want to be that player that's always known as versatile, or do you want to grow up going, hey, I'm a number 8, I'm a number 6? And credit to him. Listen, when he came in last year, I have a lot of banter with someone called Lubo in my chat who just loves him. So I have a lot of banter about that. But he did okay in the defense. I thought it was difficult because, again, it was a very wide open formation. So he was kind of like a lamb to the slaughter, if we're honest. I need to see a run of games from him in midfield to really see how good are you. I just don't know, and I'll hand this over to Jules. I don't know if he's going to get that run of games, like a 5 to 10 run of games in midfield to actually say, hey, this is my position. So it's a difficult one, but what I have seen, nothing has made me go, God, yeah, you're amazing. So we'll see. Time will tell. But I know you Leeds fans really rate him, so I won't.
Yeah, definitely.
Say too much.
George, are we right to rate him, or have we overgassed him? Where's your head at with it?
No, I think you guys are right to rate him. I think it's very clear to see for his age, he is football IQ wise years ahead. Like he's very smart player. He's very for me. The one thing that I think's just thrown me off from even the first time I see him is composure. He never really looks scared on the ball. He looks so composed, so comfortable, even when he's in positions where, when he's the one person on the ball and you got a few players pressing him, he's comfortable taking it out, trying to roll it through, play it through the lines, and that's what I like about him. For me, he has all the sort of foundational attributes to become a great player, like you guys have said. But it does go to what Savva said: is he going to get the time to develop himself? Now, I think in a season like this season where we have a lot of midfielders, whereas Thomas Frank's going to still be figuring out what his best team is, it's probably the best time for him to, when he does get his minutes, to try and take advantage of it. And to be fair, this weekend might be the first time again that he gets a proper start in a Premier League game, because our midfielders over the last couple of weeks, Bentancur's not necessarily been that good. Sar's just come back from injury, but hasn't picked up the form.
So do you think he could start on Saturday?
Yeah. I was speaking to a lot of Spurs boys in another group chat that I have, and most of us are in agreement that I think he should start, because Bergvall had a few man-of-match performances, then hasn't really hit the form in the last 2 games. Same for Sar, same for Bentancur. So I would go Paulinho, Gray, and then throw Simmons in front of him. And like you said, I think Gray, for me, has looked better in the 8 than he has anywhere else. You put him in the 8, very technically sound, can get on the ball, likes to play it forward, likes to get forward as well, and he can become a pressing issue. And I'm not going to say he's creative, but he has the creative mind, so he knows how to find the pass. And we saw that with him getting the assist on for the goal against Bodo Glimt in the 90th minute. So, for me, I'm quite calm with where his development is, because he's still so young. What's he, 18, 19? I don't expect to see the best of Archie Gray for another 2 or 3 seasons, but that's fine by me. I'm like, £40 million, it's a lot of investment, but it's an investment where we can wait it out for a couple of years till he gets to a good level where he's a guaranteed starter.
If you wouldn't have bought him and he stayed Leeds another summer, Liverpool and that were all keeping tabs on him. He's been well thought of for quite some time. So I think it's a lot of money, but I do think he'll come good. Do you think Savva as well, just because Rickard's a member of mine and comments a lot, do you think that also has had an impact on Gray, because Bergvall has come in and has looked better and more ready? And can you give Rickard an update on Bergvall, because it's from his team in Sweden?
Yeah, it's difficult because they're both very different footballers. They're very different. So Bergvall is a lot more physical, right? He's bulked up massively since he's come to Tottenham. He looks a bit more physically ready. He's more of a, give me the ball, I'm going to drive with it. He wants to constantly be driving the ball forward. Whereas I think Archie Gray's a little bit more of a wanting to get the ball down and play. So it's very difficult. But yeah, I said it last season. The problem that you got is when you've brought in 2 18-year-old centre mids at the same time, they already had Papa Sarr in front of them, who was, I think he's 21, 22. So he was still a young centre mid when they joined. It's very difficult, right? Because is there really going to be a game where you go, right, go on, then Gray and Bergvall go and play together? And what happened was Bergvall was the one getting the minutes in centre mid, and then Gray was playing at right back, left back, centre back, whatever it was. Look, Bergvall, for me, how's he getting on? But listen, Bergvall is clearly a very talented young man. Very talented. I do think that, as always, football fans, you know what it's like. If a young player does something well, straight away they're thrown into this pedestal where it's like, oh my God, they are. I like Bergvall. For me, I think he's young. He's got a lot to learn. A lot of the time, a bit headless chicken like, in terms of he wants to be everywhere on the pitch. And I think Frank will work with him and try and get him a position on the pitch. But yeah, I mean, for, what was it, 10 million euros, maybe 8 million euros, something ridiculous like that.
It's a massive bargain, man.
It's a bargain. He's come in, he's taken his opportunity, and He's he's not done himself any harm. I don't think he should be an automatic every game starter, but he is going to get a lot of football. And if he continues to, it's the same thing with anything, Joe. At 18, 19, 20, everyone thinks every young player is going to turn out to be the next somebody. Let's see. It's up to him. If he wants to develop and if he's got that right mindset, then he gets the right coaching, he could be great. But I always think give them a few years and let's see what they're about.
George, I'm going to ask you about a different player. He came to Leeds United last season on loan. He didn't play much. He was injured. There was talks of off-field attitude issues. We sent him back. It is Jed Spence. Now, you've had Jed Spence for a couple of seasons. He's finally been given an opportunity. He got an England call-up. What do you think's changed? Do you see a difference in him? Is he of the level? Like, what's your opinions on Jed?
Do you know what? For me, Jed is obviously he's one of those players who for years supposedly had these attitude problems, Neil Warnock and so on. I think he's just a player with a little bit of arrogance. That's what it is. And I think nowadays in football, managers don't like arrogance. They like to control the dressing room. So when you have a player like him who rates himself, he will probably say he's the best fullback in the league. Like, that's how much confidence he has. And when you have players like that around, sometimes it scares managers. So then they're like, no, we don't have him around, don't do this, don't do that. He's doing too much. I think there's definitely been a change in him, definitely over the last year. He looks to seem to be more focused on football, more focused on, just developing and improving. And I just think his head's down. He's straight tunnel vision to just performing and turning up every week. And do you know what? Right now, he's been performing so good. I can't say any bad words. Obviously, there's some limits to his game. I think he's been better on the left side than I've seen him on the right side at Spurs. No doubt about that. But defensively, there's no questions. I think 1v1, there's not many better defenders in the Premier League. He'll shut up shop against most wingers. But going forward down that left-hand side, it can limit him because obviously he's always going to try cut in on his right foot. So don't really have that natural overlapping runs. And especially when you have someone like Xavi, who's an insider when he's on that left side, you need someone to occupy that space, which I don't think Spence does so well. But away from that, he's developed really well over the last year, sort of come into himself. And I generally don't know why none of these, because it wasn't just your loan spell. He had a loan spell at Bologna or Genoa or Bologna, one of those teams that didn't work out, Rennes that didn't work out. And none of these teams, I think most of those loans had option to buys, which nobody ended up taking. So I think during that period of time in his career, maybe he was going through some stuff, wasn't in the right mindset. But since last season, the start of it, he's really switched on. And since he's had his opportunity, he's only been straight focused. And there's no questions regarding attitude or anything for Spence. Like,
I think there's only seemed to be, Frank's getting a tune out of him, and obviously the guy who was at Forest, Cook, wasn't it? Was it Cook? What's he called? Steve Cooper. Cooper, sorry, not Cook. No. He got something out of him when he was at Forest, and then we get the picture with the cigar and stuff. But he came to Leeds, and apparently off-field stuff. We sent him back in January. I am genuinely concerned because I look at Spence as the type of character that will go, I can't wait to play this game. I can't wait to be involved in a goal in some capacity so I can give it to that manager who sent me back in January, who refused to play me in my preferred position. He's that type of character, and there's nothing wrong with that. But as a fan, I'm looking at it going, oh, he's going to be well up for this fixture. Do you think he's that type of guy, Savva?
It's difficult, isn't it, with Spence? He's it's been a long path, hasn't it, from us buying him to him actually getting regular minutes. I agree with George. He's definitely been better on the left-hand side. He's a very good defensive player. Problem is, his strength is his weakness, because when he's on the left-hand side, obviously, which is out of position, he looks stronger defensively. But then going forward, you lose that width because he naturally drifts into the right-hand side and he underlaps as opposed to overlapping, which is what Udogie does. But it's strange. I do feel as well that since the England call-up, which was really well-deserved, I feel like he's been really poor. The last few games, he's been very poor. Before that, he was excellent. I don't know whether that's, hey, Udogie's injured, I'm relaxed, so I'm playing every week, so I'm better. and now he's back. I'm feeling it. I don't know. But since Udogie's been back, it just feels like he's not quite what he was. But he's going to have that now. You've got Porro, Spence, and Udogie. I don't think Spence is going to nail down a place in the team. I think he's going to have to, him and Udogie are going to have to rotate. Clearly, he likes Porro. I think Porro's going to start most games. But I don't know. He looks like he's got an attitude, but I can't just say by looking at someone that, oh my God, look at his attitude. I don't know what he's like behind the scenes, but he's worked hard. He's got his chance. He's played. There was a 3-month spell last year where he was our best player, and he must have had his confidence knocked because he was our best player. And then the moment Udogie came back, Ange dropped him immediately for Udogie, and it must impact you. It must if you're a pro. So, but look, he's done well. He signed a new contract, if I'm not wrong, didn't he? Signed a new contract, didn't he, a month or so back? So, look, what I do know is if I'm playing against a team with a really tricky winger, that's my fallback. That's the guy I want. I want him locking that winger up. But going forwards, I'm not sure that's the guy I want. So, I don't know. He's an interesting character, is Jed Spence.
So we've got the ex-Leeds players out of the way now. Let's talk about this season and the current Spurs. Obviously, you have in the summer the game against PSG. Genuinely, I wanted you to win that game. I've got no ill feeling towards Spurs. I like Thomas Frank. Them's the facts, right? So I wanted you to win that game. Obviously, you end up losing on pens, but you then start the season and you start really well. And if we're being honest, all joking aside, you have only lost one game this season in the league and obviously the Champions League. So, George, what's Frank done differently? Like, what kind of Spurs will we be facing at the weekend? And how far do you think this Spurs side can go this season?
So there's been a few things that Frank has done differently, I suppose. Like we sort of touched on briefly in the last show with the 12th man, is the biggest problem we had last season was defensively. The first thing he's come in and worked on is making sure we don't concede nowhere near as many chances. Our box defending is a lot better. And we just make sure we're keeping more clean sheets. And that's for me is the biggest thing, especially when you're coming into a team. You start off with the foundation, start off at the back, don't concede goals. And that's one of the biggest problems. Don't want to take it away from Spurs, but when you look at like a team like Man United, they concede goals. They concede a lot of goals. That's why they're so bad. When you look at Spurs right now, we're not playing amazing football, but we're not conceding a lot of goals. That to me shows that you're setting up the foundation that later on throughout his time, because I expect Frank to be here for a few years. He's built this part. We can work on the midfield. We can work on the striker and work on sort of the attack force. The biggest changes, and I mean, I suppose Ange's style is so polarizing that you can notice the change instantly from the first game. You're like, okay, we're not attacking. We ain't got 5 people in our front line every single minute of the game. The wing play can be a bit concerning at time. I think Savva touched on it in the last show regarding the wingers that we do have aren't necessarily suited to the Frank system. So as much as it has looked good at times, especially with Kudus, he's just like, for me, it's been so refreshing to have a player like Kudus back, because he's a winger who takes back to Aaron Lennon. Like, he getting up and down your winger, taking your man on, old school winger. And people talk about GA and stuff, and I don't ever look at Kudus and like, oh, he hasn't scored. Oh, he's not got assists and stuff. Because I know every game I watch, Kudus is causing problems. Kudus is I know every game, like, for example, Leeds right now, Daniel Farke will be making a game plan. How do we stop Kudus? Yeah. Like, every team is going to be working to how they can stop Kudus. So he's looked good. But then whenever it's not Kudus on the wing and we have Odebert, Johnson, Tell, whoever it is, the quality just drops dramatically. So I think Frank is struggling with the limited options that we have in the attack at the moment. I mean, it's not his fault that 4 attackers are out injured right now. 2 of them prior to him coming in, but then obviously Solanke picking one up, and then the new striker we brought in to challenge Richarlison and give us something different. He's picked up a dead leg for 3 weeks, which is very Spursy, because I don't know how you could be out 3 weeks with a dead leg, but hey, it is what it is. So there's been a few changes. It hasn't necessarily been a massive difference in we look so much better performance-wise, but I think the foundations have been set. We look better defensively. Throughout the season, we'll get better in the attack as some of these players come back and some of the options, but he is limited to the team that he has, and Frank is trying to make it work. Can you say that he's doing good enough? For some, no. For some, yes. For me, it's just give the manager some time. He generally is only 3 months into his tenure. He's still learning about the players. I'm not being funny. Yeah, he would have watched Tottenham and so on, but we know our players. He's got to find out about these players, and he's finding out in real time. Like a player like Richarlison, who prior to coming to Spurs, he said he rated. He said quite clearly in an interview, I like this player. I like what he brings to a game. Watching him and having him under your management now, you probably don't like him because he doesn't link anything in the attack. He runs away from the ball and pretty much helps create no chances. So, yeah, I think Frank has been limited, but, you know, give him time and it's going to build up to be his system, his style of play. But he needs some of these players back.
Definitely. I do rate Thomas Frank. Listen, there was a period of time when we were competing with Brentford in the championship and I couldn't stand him. But like that was because he was our direct rival and he used to say stuff about Leeds. He used to stoke it up. He knew what he was doing, right? But I've gone on to appreciate how good he is, what he's done, where he's come from. And I'm glad he's got a job like Spurs to really show his capabilities. Savva, you spoke to me 2 weeks ago about how defensively sound you were. George has touched on it there. However, lately in the last couple of games, you have started to concede. What do you put that down to? Is it Romero being out midweek? Like, what is it?
Yeah, I mean, we've only the 2 games where we conceded, really. 2 goals versus Brighton were both our own undoing, just silly mistakes, giving the ball away. And then Bodo again. Bodo was just a really, really poor game. In general, though, even against Wolves, I know we struggled against Wolves, but their goal was a scrappy goal from a corner. We didn't really ever, other than that, look like Wolves were going to score goals past us. And I don't think that was the Spurs fans' problem for the game. It wasn't, oh my God, Wolves have peppered us. It was, hang on, what are we doing the other end? Look, I think like any good manager, he started from the back. And fans might not like that. Right. And I get it. Right. Fans immediately like, come on, you're a coach. Why haven't you fixed the defense, the midfield and the attack? You've been here 10 games. Come on. Why aren't we winning a league title? But he said this, and this is what I love about Thomas Frank. When he talks in an interview, right, he's very honest. If he gets it right, he's very honest. He's very honest at saying, listen, I like this. This, not so much. I didn't like this. And this is, we're going to work on that. And it's going to take a few months. And problem is fans don't want it to take a few months. Fans want everything to be fixed immediately. And George is spot on. When we look at the forward line, other than Kudus, right? I don't look at it and get, you know, like when certain players get the ball and you go, oh, hang on. I don't ever, if the ball goes into Odegaard, Richarlison, Johnson, I just stay like this. And I'm like, when Kudus gets it, I go, okay, hang on, something might happen. So I think it's going to take time. What I said at the beginning of the season was, I think Spurs are going to do this year. I think it's going to be up and down, up and down. I think there's going to be some great games. I think there's going to be some shit games. And I think there's going to be some very frustrating games. But we've got to give a manager some time. He's had 6 league games, 1 Super Cup, 2 Champions League.
And it's first time for him
1 league
juggling
cup.
Midweek Cup. Well, I know you have the Championship, but it's not the same because you're talking Champions League, you're talking Cups, you're talking, you know, League as well, and at the top end, you know. So that's something he has to adjust to as well, right?
Yeah, of course. And I said it just now, didn't I, on Dan's show? I don't think we've got the squad for it. We are that team, unfortunately, that a couple of players drop out and you go, oh my God, look how weak we are. And as I've said, I don't even think we've completed the 11, let alone looking at the players in the squad. So I do think it's going to be very up and down. I think we're going to have games where we think, oh, we'll win this. And then we're really frustrated and lose. And then games like against Man City, where we were absolutely brilliant from start to finish. But he's been here 3 months, 10 games. Spurs fans, if you speak to the Spurs fans, honestly, not all of them, but you would think we're bottom of the league. Like it's utterly, I don't know what you think, George. I think it's
literally, I was saying it today. People are acting like Spurs are in a crisis. And I'm just like, yo, calm down. It's like people haven't had a new manager, but you'd think we were like Man United after Alex Ferguson, you know, haven't had a new manager in how long? Now, when you've got a new manager, like, no, nothing's working. I'm like, we've had 5 or 6 managers in the last 4 or 5 years. If anything, our fans should be used to this process.
Yeah.
Start off a season, it should be a little bit. But because they saw Ange start off his first season with like a 10-game unbeaten streak, Jose start off with like a mad unbeaten, they got too used to seeing that for a moment, which it's not usual. They were like 2 of the only times ever happened in Spurs history. So I'm very calm with where we're at, man. Like,
at least it's not like Wandy Ramos's tenure, you know what I mean? When you were like down the bottom and that, it could go a lot worse. I think you've got a top coach, top manager, and I think he'll do well for Spurs. And listen, you got that trophy win off your back now. That can't get slung at you anymore, and a European trophy at that. So, yeah, you're laughing. Now, talking about the weekend, obviously, we've spoke about it on the 12th man. I'm pretty confident. The mad thing is, prior to Bournemouth, I was more confident against Hughes than I was Bournemouth, right? I was thinking, I think we can get something against Spurs. Bournemouth, I'm not too sure about. We were actually better than Bournemouth for large parts. And I know football's not as linear as we beat Wolves, we drew with Bournemouth, so that means we'll automatically beat you because you got beat by Bournemouth and drew with Wolves. It don't work like that, right? But I do take a lot of confidence from how well we played in both of them games. And Savva, you touched on something just a second ago about the depth of squad. This is why, for me, was another reason, George, why Leeds were going to stay up, because the Premier League has the most clubs competing in Europe it's ever had. Mm-hmm. That is going to put a lot of strain on squads. If it's putting strain on your squad, it's definitely going to put it on Palace, on Forest, and the rest, right? So that's why, as well, senior midweek, Savva told me you got a host of injuries. You've spoken about them yourself. We've had a full week's prep. We do have issues on the right-hand side. James is out, Nonto's out, so we're relying on Aronson, and going forward, he's not great, but he'll run all day. He's a defensive winger, as the manager likes to call him. But I am confident going into this fixture, and I do think we can get a positive result. Where's your head at, George? All joking aside, like where you are.
Yeah. Like, I generally think you guys have had a good start to the season. You make a good point on the last show with regards to this year's promotional teams being a lot closer to just the other teams in the Premier League in general as to what the other promotional teams were. And I always thought that would technically be... I didn't think the bottom 3 this year were too far below, because as I said, I knew Scott Parker's Burnley would be okay. I didn't think they were going to be a great team, but I knew they'd pick up points here and there. Sunderland, I'm really confident that they might get like 12th or 11th or something. I think they're going to be a really good team. They had a really good transfer window. Yeah. And then yourselves are a team that I think could definitely stay up. I think for me, a lot of the reservation come down to your manager. Just whenever I've seen him in the Premier League, he's tried to be a bit too overzealous with Norwich, and it's always been the downfall for him. But he's always been, again, a manager who's managed to pick up points in some games. And you make a good point with regards to the European football, because like you said, when you come up against these Palaces, these Forests, and some of these other teams in those European games off the back of a Thursday game, they're going to be easier to beat, and they may be having more problems. So I think the relegation battle is going to be a lot tighter this season, but also it's difficult to know where it's going to go as well, because like I said, you guys are good, but then the teams that are going to fall out, I think Wolves and West Ham are quite literally below everyone, but then West Ham have already sacked their manager. So how good are they going to be with Nuno now? And it's like I said, there's going to be a lot of changes with managers that I think can impact the season heavily, and that's sort of the way to see how it plays out. But you guys have been good. Like, whenever I watch you guys, you've looked decent. I think the only one game where I thought you were awful was the Arsenal one.
Yeah.
Away from that, it's been pretty good. And that's why when I look at this weekend, like, as much as I expect Spurs to win, I don't think it's going to be easy off the back of Spurs not being great, but then you guys looking decent and it being at your home ground, having a good atmosphere. But like Savva says, we've actually been better away from home than we have been at home this season for some weird reason. I don't know if it's the pressure of being at home, or we've had a bad home record for about 18 months now. It's been awful in the Premier League. So clearly playing away from home is more comfortable for us. So this might be making it better for us on the weekend. But you guys have been good. Like, as much as I clown you guys have actually been impressive this season. Better than I thought you'd be.
Yeah, I think that Savva, George touched on something there. Obviously, your great away record, there probably is something in that. Leeds United haven't tasted defeat since September last year. That was against Burnley. We lost 1-0. Admittedly, a lot of that's championship football, but the fact we've been able to maintain that, having beat Everton, drawn with Newcastle, and then obviously got a draw against Bournemouth, shows that it is a bit of a fortress for us. And I do believe, and I know you've played in big stadiums and all that sort of stuff. We all have, right, to a certain extent. But I do believe it will have an impact on the game. I guess for me, it's how we start. If we start well, that crowd can get up. I remember Spurs, when we got relegated, you came, Harry Kane scored within 3 minutes. I was in the ground at the time. I used to go every week at that point. I had a season ticket before I started doing my watch-alongs. And the woof, it just went. You know, Harry Kane scored within a couple of minutes. We knew then we're down. I think you beat us 4-1 or something that day. But if we start well in this game, and one thing that's really got the crowd up is that competitive nature of that midfield, the crunching tackles, you know, all that sort of stuff. It doesn't half lift the fan base. So I think for us, if we start well, that's why I'm confident going into this. Do you have any reservations about Ellen Road? Or listen, at the end of the day, you should be winning this game. Spurs are expected to win it. I get it. But where's your head at with it, bro?
First of all, my head's at, I wish Harry Kane was still up front for Tottenham Hotspur. Yeah, look, I mean, look, it's one of those, isn't it? Football's not binary, is it? Football's not linear. Football is not, well, we're the better team on paper. We're going to go to Ellen Road and we should thoroughly expect to be winning this nice and easy. I wish it was that. If it was that, we'd all be millionaires from winning at the bookmakers every week, right? It just doesn't work like that. Look, I think absolutely you guys are going to be fresher. We know that. You guys are going to be fresher. And this is the problem with playing in Europe. And when you don't have the ability to rotate, you guys are going to be fresher. I think if you guys start quickly, I think if you put those crunching tackles in, you fight for every ball with the likes of Longstaff, etc., then I think this could be a long 90 minutes for us. However, if we start quickly and grab a goal, it's one of those, isn't it? You know, put the pressure on, make the home team, make the home fans worried, and then maybe we grind it out. Look, I don't know. Maybe this is the game where Spurs rock up and suddenly we do batter someone. I don't think that's the case from the way we're playing at the moment. But yeah, look, Ellen Roads, I've been to Ellen Roads plenty of times. It's never nice as an away fan. It's never nice. It doesn't matter whether you guys are getting relegated or fighting for league titles. You guys make that place horrible to be in for the opposition. And that's exactly what a home support should do. So I do think this is going to be a tough game. I do. All the banter aside from the 12-man podcast, I do think this is going to be a really tough game. And this is going to be about, are the Spurs players up for it? I've got no doubt your 11 will be up for it. We'll graft and we'll fight. We're going to have that. And that's why I think we are going to see Paulinho in the 6. We are going to see, if he doesn't play him, he's mad. And I do think he might go with Bentancur for experience.
Will Romero play after missing midweek?
Well, Argentina play next week, don't they? So you never know. You never know with Romero.
Or does he turn it in before international duty?
Well, I'm not. Man,
I think he's got a different responsibility now. Different, no Daniel Levy. He used to have. I think he's got a different head on his shoulders now. Before, definitely, Joe. Definitely, there's no doubt about that.
Yeah,
but I think he'll play if he's fit. I think we have to wait to see tomorrow.
Give me your lineup, lads. What do you expect the lineup to be?
Well, the back four, I think, chooses itself pretty much. Probably be Jed on the left, the 2 centre backs. If Romero is going to,
one of the Spurs fans who comes on mine, I think it's Daniel. His name is. He thinks that Spence had been poor, so Dogi might come in. Will that not happen?
I wouldn't mind.
I think it will be. It's tough to tell. I think it might be a Dogi for the width and the. I think the fact that we don't have a good left winger, it might mean that we need a Dogi to play for the width and getting in to the opposition half. But I genuinely don't know anymore, George. Gone are the days where it's like he's definitely playing. I don't.
Do you know what? I'll be real. If Dogi does start left back, that tells me that we're going to play with a proper left winger. I would think. And actually, I say proper left winger, I don't think any of our wingers are proper left wingers, but I think we'll probably go with Tell because Odobert started midweek and Odobert had an awful game midweek. I don't think you can give another start off the back of that performance. I think Simmons is going to get a try in the 10. I feel like Frank's going to be smart and he's actually going to use the player. We spent 51 million on a player to be our star signing, gave him 200k a week. play him in the position that he was brought to be played in, and, you know, give him that creative freedom. So I'd expect to him being a 10. I generally think that Gray might get a start. I think Gray might get a start in this game, just off the back of he's not had too many chances, but whenever he has come on, he's looked pretty good. And if you play him next to Paulinho, you've got someone who's very defensively sound and could really give him that sort of backup behind him, so he hasn't got to worry about doing the physical job. Because like Savva pointed out, the one thing that I think Gray's behind Bergvall and some of our other midfielders on, even Sarr, is that physical side of the game. So if he can play a bit more advanced and get on the ball and link play a bit more, I think we could go with a midfield 3 of that. But it's going to be, the thing is right now, because we have so many players of similar levels, like they're not standouts. So you have a few standouts, but then you've got a lot of players at similar levels. It's hard to differentiate who's going to start, who's going to play. He might throw Sarr back in the midfield, but Sarr and Bergvall played very bad in the midweek game. And Joe, I know you was watching it because you were at me during the
game. I had to have a little bit of fun with it. I had to.
I don't think Gray will start. I'm not saying he won't. It's only my opinion. I don't think he will, and I think purely because of the physicality of your midfield 3 of Stack, Longstaff, and I'm missing one. Is it Gruev?
Ampadu plays
Ampadu. Yeah. So I don't know. Listen, I think tomorrow he might go for the tried and tested. I think he might go for Bentancur and Paulinho, and I think we might see Xavi Simons start his first Premier League game in the 10. I think we might. And if that happens, I think, like George said, it might have that knock-on effect that we then go a left winger and then a Dogie for the balance to that. Who knows, though, right? Who knows? Who picked up a knock during the week? But I fully expect to see Simons, Paulinho and Kudus come straight back into that 11. But my worry, I say it time and time again, is that straight away, it's the same. There's no strikers. Unless Mwani's miraculously fit, there's no change up top, is there, Jules? It's the same thing every game at the moment. And we look, it's that bad, right? It's that bad up front. I'm at this stage, right? I'm at the stage where I'm going, may as well just give Dane Scarlett a game.
I was just about to say the same thing.
I don't think this guy is even championship ready. That's how bad we've been up top. So I don't know. I'm worried.
Is Troy Parrott? Is it Troy Parrott? Is he still on your books? Or did you tell him?
He's at Outmark banging in goals.
I thought he was on loan, but he's smashing it out there, isn't he, that Parrott? No?
Yeah. He played against us a couple of times last year and looked
average.
I think he looked what he is. He's not quite good enough for this level. But my worry is that you guys start the game like a house on fire, and that your stadium is going to be well up for it. That's my worry, and we've got to find a way to silence that very quickly.
I think so. Well, the thing is, one thing Thomas Frank's managed on many occasions on big games when we were chasing promotion, so he'll no doubt get stuck into the players. Listen, you don't have to humour me, but is there anybody from a Leeds perspective that you want to see like the look of or are concerned about? I know the answer is no, but yeah, if there isn't, that's fine.
One player for me was Notto. But obviously he's not available. I think he's really good on the wing. He's an absolute problem. Just he's always going to be relentless, similar to Kudus in the sense of they constantly just can run at their man. They'll run at your man, get to that byline and create something. Away from him, correct me if I'm wrong, have you got Jack Harrison? Jack
Harrison, but he's a bench player, mate. He doesn't. He doesn't. The
I think I've rated him from when he was playing at Everton and so on. I think he's a good player. He's got a good ability. He can find a goal, decent finish on him. But again, like I said, if he's not going to be playing, then I don't know. I look at your front line and Dan James.
Well, he's injured as well, mate. So you're looking at Brendan Aronson, who defensively quality, but he gets nosebleeds when he gets in the final third, right? And just too many touches, holds on to it too long. It's just so frustrating. You've got Dominic Calvert-Lewin, which you all know about. He could have had a hat-trick against Bournemouth, by the way. He played mint, but he could have had a hat-trick, and he didn't score any of them. And then on the other side, you've got Noah Okafor, who at the minute, he shows up for 20, 25 minutes, and then you can forget he's on the pitch. So I'm just hoping that's match sharpness with him. But yeah, in the final third, there isn't much. But what I will say for it is industrious. That midfield, Anton Stack, Sean Longstaff and Ampadu don't half get about it. So that's where I'd be looking from your perspective, whether we win that battle. And the left back, Gabby Goodmanson, we brought him from Lille. He's been our most consistent new signing, quality up and down the left-hand side. So a bit of Lavi's work cut out against Kudus. He had a bit of a stinker against Saka and Max Dowman when he came in. So this will be another test for him against Kudus, but we'll see how he gets on. Before we finish, lads, let's get some score predictions. I said mine earlier on. I think we're going to win the game 2-0. Savva, I'll start with you.
As I said, my head says 2-2. My heart says 2-1 to Spurs. Famous last words. I'll be clipped up here, won't I? If we're on the end of a 3-0, 4-0 drubbing. Now, listen, I'll be really disappointed if we go there and lose. Sorry, I'm not saying you're a bad team, but you know,
no, you should be winning. You should be winning. Come on,
we shouldn't be. Look, it's the law of averages. We've done well away from home. Does that mean we're going to continue to do well away from home? I really don't know, but I'll go with 2-2, 2-1 Spurs, somewhere around there.
Nice, George.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with 2-1 myself. I just think we're gonna have a little bit too much, but I think it's gonna be tight. Like I said, if you guys get an early goal, I'd definitely be worried. But because we've showed some resilience in our last couple of games to get back into them, gives me a little bit of confidence. But then at the same time, I think we could have that same Liverpool effect where it works for a few games, then it doesn't work for you in a couple. So I'd much feel a lot more comfortable if we score first and just take the lead in this game. So yeah, I'm going to go 2-1. I think it's going to be a tight game, but I just think we get the job done.
Fairs. Before we go, we've had a super chat from All Boxed Up who says, just because Leeds. I do want to ask quick fire. Luke B says, genuine question, is the Solanke deal looking like a mistake now? Spent a lot of money knowing he has injury issues. Surely could have invested that in a striker that's available a lot more.
That's not true. If you actually look into it, Solanke never had no injury issues before joining Spurs. He had really good injury record, but since joining Spurs has picked up a consistent ankle injury, which seems to be a lot of our players. I think Maddison's had a consistent ankle injury. Kane did a few. So it's just one of those things. I think he's just been unfortunate and they done the surgery too late.
Do you know the mad thing is with that, Savva, and you might agree here, like I loved Bielsa. Won't have a bad word said about him. But a lot of the players that went through his regime, and I think Ange's very similar on the training pitch. I know he doesn't involve, but he's quite intense. Some players do continuously then break down after it. Could that have an impact on the Solanke thing if he's just started getting injuries? Or
my bigger worry with Solanke is an ability thing rather than an injury thing. I never wanted him. I thought we would have learnt our lesson from the Richarlison thing, and we didn't. I mean, in the space of 3 years, we spent £115 million on those two. And it really upsets me, like really upsets me when I sit there and I think of the centre forwards I've seen as a Spurs fan. And we're now all going, oh, when is Solanke back? And I'm like, I don't really care when Solanke's back. It was a lot of money for a guy who'd only ever had one good season. It was a lot of money. And
does Kane come back? Because there was chat of it, right?
Oh God, I'll go.
We've got a clause in there.
I
trust me.
I think he'll make sure that he gets the all-time Premier League Golden Boot scorer over Shearer before he retires. I think
it's just if ever he comes back and comes to Spurs. I'll be honest. I think the only other club I would have been worried of him going would have been like a Man United, but they're too bad, so he would never go there. Yeah, 100%. So
I used to always say that, if Fergie was still about, he'd have bought Kane straight away. Like he used to do, just rest at league. Yeah, we'll have him. He'd have bought Kane years before, I think. But yeah. Right, we will finish up there. Listen, folks, in the chat, the channels have been put in by the moderators. We've got George at Do Rag Diaries, and we have Savva at Football Heritage TV. Make sure you go and show them some love, because I know after channels come on here, they do all right on a sub basis. So don't let me down. Go over and make sure you subscribe, because you'll be able to enjoy their tiers after lunchtime on Saturday when they're saying that they were shit and just that they were shit and no praise our way. But we will make them remember. Don't worry. I'm going into hiding, by the way, if we get beat. But hey, it is.
Well, you're not. You're joining me the moment you're.
Yes, I'm joining you. Yeah. Then I'm going into hiding. Then I'm going. Yeah, great stuff. Thanks for coming on, lads and folks. Make sure you go over and subscribe to both channels as well. And I will see you tomorrow now for a preview ahead of the game. Peace out.